All right, Emma, we got another joint practice. What do we know?
Boys, 2.5 hours in a very hot day out in Lake Forest. It was good action. I'll start with the results. And I came away encouraged by the Bears while also believing that the Bills were the better team on both sides of the football. And speaking with some of my counterparts and colleagues on the Buffalo side, came to that agreement. I thought the Bears asserted themselves well while also reminding themselves of what a challenge it is going up against a Super Bowl contender. On both sides of the football, Buffalo has better personnel, starting, of course, with the MVP and Josh Allen. But there were good moments. I thought the Bears had a physical practice that matched a Bills team that was ready to match that physicality. We saw the Bears push around the Dolphins last week, and Sean McDermott knew that. He told his team, be ready because they're coming after us. We got to take it to them. And it was really good competitive action through 2.5 hours. That's a long practice these days. So it was a productive practice for these two teams ahead of Sunday night's kickoff at Soldier Field.
Well, that's really encouraging, and we're going to listen to stuff and dissect words as we have, but let's stay with this for a second, Chris, because this is the goods. This is, joint practices. They take it seriously, and as you said, this is a Super Bowl contender. So, like, physically on the offensive line and the defensive line, did it look like these two problem areas where they've invested a lot were up to the snuff to match up with a real team today?
I think the Bears' defensive line asserted itself well against the Bills' offensive line. On the other side, you saw the concerns of the Bears' offensive line come out today. And the Bills have some guys up there. I mean, Greg Rousseau was everywhere. Joey Bosa was noticeable. Buffalo's defensive front came after those guys. And you saw the Bears' issues, both protecting Caleb Williams. Obviously, he was not getting sacked. We'll get to something about that later here with Caleb. But there was a lot of pre-snap issues. There were a lot of penalties, false starts, holdings. You saw a lot of the things we've seen when it's Bears on Bears kind of rear their ugly head today as it was Bears on Bills.
Okay, so what did the guys say about, or at least on offense, on what was going on?
Well, let's hear from two guys who are out there on both sides of the football. Colston Loveland first, and you're going to hear from Tremaine Edmonds after. We got to face his former team today in the Bills. Here's how they both felt it went on their respective sides of the football.
Yeah, like I said, it's a blessing to be able to do that. That's a team right there, and they got some guys. It just kind of shows you, we wouldn't want to play anyone but the best, and they came in here and they were very competitive, very chirpy, and that's how we wanted it. I think it was great for us to have that long practice, get down in the dirt and just kind of fight our way out of that. A lot to learn from it. Like I said, we got to go over the tape and kind of see exactly how everything looked. But just a blessing that we could play that team or practice with that team, and then play this team on Sunday. So it's gonna be a good deal.
Right. I mean, it's good. You know what I mean? You're going against an MVP quarterback. It challenges you. You know what I mean? And just being able to execute our stuff, going through our communications, and just going through the things that we've been doing throughout camp. I think we took a step out there. Extremely happy with the stuff that we put out there. Obviously, after every practice, there's always going to be stuff that you got to get better with. But just being able to challenge yourself. Obviously, you play this game to go against the best. He's playing big time ball. So being able to see where we are, and obviously, there's a lot of film we got to go back and look at. So I don't know every little thing that happened, but it's always good when you go against great competition for sure.
Okay, so yeah, that's fun when you get the opportunity to kind of match it up and see where you're at with the team and hope that you can match their energy or maybe surpass their energy, knowing that they might have a better overall roster and clearly are more together because of stability of players on the roster and coaches.
Yeah, I think they embraced the challenge, and they didn't disrespect the Dolphins at all, but I think they came away thinking, man, we're the better team than the Dolphins. And I would take that under on whatever the Dolphins win total is. I was just so unimpressed with them last week and carried over a bit into Sunday as well at Soldier Field. You know what the Bills are. 17's at quarterback. They've got talent all around them on offense. That defense has dudes out there. It's a different test. And I think the Bears got up for it. I think they were juiced to be out there facing guys they know are going to be there playing late into January. like I said, you saw the Bills' talent shine. Yeah, the Bills were the better team today, but it wasn't dramatically different. This wasn't a lopsided result in practice. You saw the Bears, I think, really rise to the challenge a bit and assert themselves well. The highlight of the day for me on the offensive side was a 3rd and 2 where the Bills showed their defensive front coming at Caleb Williams. He got a quick release. I think it was his second read. Was Olamide Zaccheaus hit him in stride. You can see the video on social media, and Zaccheaus just broke free. He is fast. He's got the explosiveness. He went 45 yards to the house for a touchdown. That got the crowd into it out there. It was a good play by Caleb Williams, getting that quick release out there, trusting number 14, who we've seen all throughout camp, and talk with some of my friends on the Buffalo side. They said, man, Zaccheaus looks like a guy out there. And you've seen that all throughout camp. And it's good to see Caleb Williams developing that connection both with the veteran Zaccheaus and obviously his fellow second-year guy in Roma Dunze, who's had some good moments as well.
Yeah, so Caleb had a really good day apparently today, up until a false start and kind of things fell apart on the later end. But let's get to this Ben Johnson on Caleb, because you know, he had set the bar very high for Caleb on a very important stat, hadn't he, Chris? And today he kind of backed away from it a little bit because he has to.
Well, one thing I love with Ben Johnson is he's not afraid to give you stuff. He's going to be honest about a lot of the things, his own expectations for his players and this collective team. And he volunteered it at the start of training camp, saying that 70% completion is a goal for Caleb Williams. That's a lofty goal. That's setting the bar high. And it tells you how Ben Johnson views his young quarterback and the standard that's in place. So one of our, I believe it was our buddy Jason Leisure, followed up on that, saying, where is Caleb to that 70% mark? Here's Ben Johnson.
I don't have the exact number, but we've been underneath that bar, which that happens. We're learning, we're growing. I think early on we were probably 55. It's gotten better as camp has gone on, but we haven't hit that threshold as often as we'd like.
What have you worked with Caleb on as far as the throwing accuracy, and did you guys look at last year at all, because he seemed kind of mystified by some of his accuracy issues from last season, because that's not been that wasn't an issue for him in college, and then he wasn't where he wanted to be.
I mean, it always
able to see that you could adjust.
In my opinion, it always starts with the feet. It doesn't matter what level you're at, but it always starts with the feet for a quarterback. And if you're not aligned properly from the ground up, then you're going to have inconsistencies with your target. So that's what we've been talking about, and specifically for all right-handed quarterbacks, when you throw to a target that's moving from the right to the left, you typically throw it behind. And so you have to train yourself to make sure you're opened up enough to throw him to where he's going to be and not where he's at. And so that's something we talked about going into the summer break, and something we still harp on. You can't get enough of that. It takes a long time to develop habits. And so that's the starting point. I think he's got a beautiful throwing motion. I mean, that was ingrained into him at a young age, and I think that still shows up. So there's nothing mechanically wrong, but it's just all about the alignment and getting out in front of the target.
To Emma's point, that's some real stuff from Ben Johnson. We'd always heard about Caleb, quote, he's a beautiful thrower of the football, unquote. Remember hearing about that in scouting. And that's still true. But that stuff about got to open up enough so you make sure that you lead a guy instead of being lazy, throwing across your body a little bit. Like that's some real technical, specific stuff that Caleb is not impressing his coach with.
Well, the idea of him saying, yeah, the guy has a really good throwing motion, but it's back to like ground zero, Speaks. But it's all about how he is on his base. And if they're still at this place where you're talking about like that as a fundamental issue with your quarterback, like that's a little concerning to me.
When you go to the back of your drop, like he's used to looking around, seeing it, and then I'll move my feet. And Ben wants him clearly to go back to in his drop, Chris, and then just
drive the ball,
be open enough that he can put it wherever he needs to be at that point, right?
One thing I keep going back to is like Ben Johnson had a lot of opportunities out there in January. And obviously he had 13 million plus reasons to come to the Bears. But the draw there is Caleb Williams. Like he wanted to work with this young quarterback. And this is a chance now to get his hands on him and really figure things out. And I think the accuracy is one thing that jumped out in particular to Ben Johnson, was that it's not good enough. He can be better with this and coached the right way. Now you're seeing them really hone in on those details. And you heard Ben Johnson talk about everything he wants to see of Caleb Williams. There was a throw a couple days ago in practice where he rolled out to his left across his body. He had a man wide open against the sideline and just misfired. It was like an impressive arm talent throw to make, and just missed. And there's just examples of that where he's been misfiring. Forget the net drill. I know that became a thing, but like there's moments in practice where just if you make a cleaner operation to get that ball out, you're connecting. You're closer to that 70% benchmark. So he's getting there. It's developing the right way. And I think with everything with Caleb Williams and this entire offense, just still preaching patience because there's still time. I think this has gone somewhat as Ben Johnson imagined and expected in terms of the development track. And this is the time to coach these things up.
Okay, so what else do we need to know?
Well, I want to touch on something else that jumped out to me from Caleb Williams' day, because there was a moment against the Bills' first-team defense where he would have taken a sack. Rosso came on around the edge. The play was blown dead. They're obviously not taking him down. But in comes Bosa, good old number 97, who likes to get under the skin of quarterbacks and gave a little bit of a poke toward almost like the neck area of Caleb Williams. And I saw it. People in the crowd saw it. I thought the offensive line should have seen it. And we heard Ryan Poles when he came in back in 22 talk about a moment where Justin Fields took a late hit out of bounds and none of his linemen stepped in there. Now, the catch with this drill was it was a no-huddle drill. They were trying to get to the line. They're up against the clock. I don't care about that. If I'm Joe Tooney, if I'm Drew Dahlman, I'm getting right in between that 9 and 7 on Bosa and going after him. And I talked with my buddy, our colleague Sal Capaccio, WGR, who covers the Bills. He said they would have had to pull Deion Dawkins out of the entire field area and out of Halas Hall if that happened to Josh Allen. Not a single Bears offensive lineman stepped in there. They ran up to the huddle, got this next snap in. There was nothing after that. And that opened my eyes. And I know that opened the eyes of Ryan Poles because that's what bothered him when it happened to Justin Fields. When you're doing that on your home turf at practice to your quarterback, your young quarterback, that should set people off. I'm willing to bet that Ben Johnson, Dan Rusher, anybody who's watching that film talks to their offensive lineman and say, guys, I don't care about that next play. You get after that guy and stand up for your quarterback.
Let's talk about the left tackle position because as I was watching the press conference today, Emma, I started to feel very bad about this competition that's going on. What's happening there?
Guys, this is not going well right now. This is a three-man competition where the fourth guy might win right now. I'll set the scene here in practice today. Theo Benedict continued to work with the ones at left tackle. Braxton Jones mixed in as well. Ozzie Trapillo worked exclusively as the right tackle with the second-team unit. Braxton Jones mixed in at left tackle with the twos as well. What this is telling me is that Ozzie Trapillo is not really in this mix anymore, that they're getting ready to prepare him as a swing tackle, that they're kind of conceding that this might just be a redshirt year, at least the first half of the year for Ozzie Trapillo. Theo Benedict's a real character in this mix. So you're going to hear from Ben Johnson. I think you're going to sense the frustration of how this is going. Here's Ben Johnson.
Yeah, hopefully some clarity. That's what we're looking for. You know, this thing's going on now 3.5 weeks, and you know, I said, and I'll say it again, we'll go as long as we need to go to find the right guy, but we'd like to see someone go ahead and make it clear to us that he is that guy. And we just haven't seen that yet as a staff. There's been too much up and down. And so, you know, today's practice will be a huge thing, and so will Sunday's game in terms of getting some clarity there on that. We'd love to go ahead and solidify that spot and move forward from there. And it might be one of those things where when we make that decision, it's not final for the season. It could be we have to reassess after a couple of weeks of the season, or by the bye week we might have to reassess. So it might be something that goes on. Wouldn't be ideal, but you know that's the name of the league. So
specifically, what is your focus area of improvement with him?
It's really play speed. There are times where the feet have gotten a little bit slow at times, both in the run game and in pass pro. So the mental of just speeding up, ball snap, let's go ahead and get in a good physical position here to block the man in front of me. It's been a little bit of up and down.
Where does Theo fit into the tackle competition right now? And is that a 3-man competition, a 4-man competition at this point?
I think he's right in the middle of it. I've been very, very excited about Theo and what he's done both on the right and the left side. So I don't think he's a guy, I know he was probably overlooked to start this competition, but the longer this thing's gone on, there's a strong argument for what he's put on tape.
Ozzy has spent more time on the right side this week than he did on the left side. Have you noticed him? Ozzy,
yeah.
Spent more time on the right side this week than the left side. Have you noticed him being more comfortable playing his natural position than on the left side?
There's no doubt that's probably where he's accumulated the most reps over the last few years, and so there is a comfort level that comes with that. And so when I talk about the feet and the speed of the feet, it is faster there on the right side.
Are looking at the matchups that you have coming in week and week out at that left tackle position, because you're going to have Aiden Hutchinson, Micah Parsons, guys like that, opposite of whoever that left tackle is.
Yeah, this is not going to be a revolving door. That's not what we want. We want one guy to clearly come out and say this is his job. We haven't gotten that yet from our crew. And so at some point we have to pick somebody that's going to start week 1 if we don't have that clarity over the next, call it, week and a half. And we'll do that. And if we have to continue to battle it out over the course through the bye week and then that's the course of that's the nature of the NFL. You know, we're going to start. I hate to say, I'd love to have just 5 guys start on the offensive line for all 17 plus games, but that's just not reality. We're going to have a lot of guys cycling on through. It's attrition. It's a long season. That's how this thing works. And so we're not afraid of it. It'll be next man up. And, you know, if one guy's not performing up to snuff, then we'll find someone else that can.
Man, that is some heavy stuff, dude. I had to giggle a couple times because, like, oh, Ozzy on the right side. Oh, yeah, he's a lot better there because he's bad on the left. Like, it is, right? I mean, Ben is telling you stuff, and like, yeah, it'd be nice. We're waiting for somebody to win the job, and nobody's doing that. So they got the Canadian kid in there.
Yeah.
Lawrence, you've been saying for a couple weeks they wanted Ozzy Trapillo to win that job. I think it's clear that he has not.
He is not. And that quote of, we'd like to see someone go ahead and make it clear that he's that guy. The season starts in 3 weeks.
It's Braxton. It is going to be Braxton against Brian Flores' blitzes, and then as the beat said, who was it? Was that Herb Howard? Said Michael Parsons and Aiden Hutchinson. Ain't no way in hell that Ozzy's slow feet, Chris Emma, is going to get a start at left tackle in the first 3 weeks. Don't you agree?
I think Brian Flores is enjoying the heck out of this tackle competition right now. Like, who can I just abuse for that entire Monday night game? It's not going well, guys. Like, you're right, Speeds. I think it's probably Braxton Jones. And at this rate, I agree. I think they wanted it to be Ozzy Trapillo. He's just not comfortable moving from the right side to the left side. It's been more of an adjustment than they wanted. Now they're getting him ready to be the swing tackle in a sense, and I think they'll develop him at the left side throughout the course of the year. Kron Amagachi just kind of no-showed in this competition. It's down to Braxton Jones, who started 40 games in that spot the last 3 years, and Theo Benedict, who was an undrafted rookie. And, like, I'm telling you, I think he's a legitimate candidate in this mix right now. Ben Johnson said so as well. You've seen him when they get out there with their first-team offense. He's been the first guy out there. So I don't know if that credit to Theo, obviously, but like also sound the alarm bells because this has not gone smoothly.
Correct. All right. So the offense was sloppy again today, which has been an issue. What's going on?
A lot of pre-snap issues, a lot of false starts. It was not a clean operation, and it's hard to get a sense of who's responsible. I think part of it, frankly, is that the Bills were getting after them a little bit in terms of the pre-snap stuff and taking advantage of it. You're getting it from Colston Loveland here, the rookie. I enjoy his maturity and his way of looking at this these issues. So here's Colston Loveland.
Yeah, just got to clean it up. Just can't have that this late in a training camp. You know, this should be talking about football, football corrections and everything. You know, we take it on the chin next play and just try to be better next practice, next play. So yeah, I got to clean all those things up, and you know that's on us as a team. You know, we all got to take accountability for that, and yeah, we'll get it cleaned up.
Does that dampen the mood when you guys walk off the practice field? I mean, you've been out there for 2.5 hours almost, and then it's like kind of that sour note that still sticks with you. Is that how it feels when you leave, when there's a lot of pre-snap errors still?
Yeah, I think you know, when you don't have a practice you'd like, wasn't as good as you thought you could have done. Yeah, I think, it doesn't ever feel great. But, that's why we got meetings. We go in, we correct the tape, get everything off our chest. We're honest with everything, clean everything up, and then boom, we're on to the next day. You can't dwell on it too much, but you obviously got to look at it and get those corrections made.
So, Emma, it seems like the theme, if I could pick one theme out from Ben Johnson press conferences, he hates this. He hates that this continues to happen, but it continues to happen. Has anyone up there given you a good reason why it hasn't stopped?
I think a lot of it's on the quarterback still, figuring out things with the pre-snap cadences, with getting guys aligned properly. Like I said, I think today it was a lot on the Bills. I think the Bills were throwing some stuff in there, whether they're barking pre-snap or trying to take advantage of it. But, I think this is the collective adjustment of this offense. These guys getting used to a new scheme, and also Caleb handling it all. So I think it'll improve over time, but it's going to be choppy as you go into the season. You're going to have some of these issues the first few weeks of the year, and obviously, when you're facing, we know what the Vikings are going to present defensively. They're going to come after you. They're going to get some disguised look. They're going to try to challenge you, and that they're going to be able to take advantage of that too. So it's got to be a cleaner operation these final few weeks of camp, because it's been choppy so far.
One of the things that we've learned with the benefit of now covering our third straight young quarterback trying to grow into the position is that the pre-snap stuff is often on the quarterback, and you end up with tight ends like Colston Loveland answering questions in a careful way. That's a rookie right there who's got to be careful because you don't exactly know who it's on. So we learned a lot from Mitch Trubisky and Justin Fields alike.
Mitch Trubisky, you say?
He's here. He's here.
Emma, did y'all talk with Mitch?
Out there wearing number 11 in red on the Bills side, Mitch Trubisky back in Halas Hall for the first time since 2020. Believe it or not, this is year 9 for Mitch, and he's settled into that role as the backup. He's bounced around the league a little bit, but he got to revisit with some of the local beat writers. Here's Mitch Trubisky.
Brought back a lot of good memories coming back here, so felt like we had a really good joint practice today. Nice catching up with some old friends, and it was good to be back. Thought we had a good day, and it was very productive.
When you got here today, did the memories come back? What was it like getting back here?
Yeah, definitely. It was nice seeing old friends, nice seeing the facility. It just brings back a lot of memories being back here, very nostalgic. Just being in this indoor, put a lot of work in here, and it's just good to be back. It feels good, honestly.
Mitch, what are your lasting memories of 2018?
2018, it felt like we couldn't lose, and we just had a really good team, and it was one of the most fun years of football I had, and I'll always remember that, and all my teammates that we had that year. It was a great run, and a lot of good memories from that season.
Good for him for being able to have the good memories. Life is too short. I thought he'd be out of the league by now. Year 9 just about broke me. Right there, when Emma said it's year 9, I hadn't put that together in my head.
I figured that because he's got so many tantalizing skills, and because he's still pretty athletic, I figured that he would be a 10-year guy, and that's where we're at. He'll always work. You want to know how much money he's made?
Yeah, I do, because he's a nice enough dude that he gets to hang around. He makes rooms better, not worse.
Yeah, he's a nice kid, always works hard, just never quite figured it out. Mitch has made $49 million.
He's no Chase Daniel. He's not a nominee.
He's not a nominee. Although, give Mitch another 5 years where he's making number 2 money, maybe.
Yeah, what's it, 75 mil? If he gets to 75 mil and doesn't play that much.
If he gets to 75 mil and haven't really played since 2020, that's a strong candidacy for Hall of Famer at the bank.
Nuggets,
he's done well
tidbits.
For himself.
Yeah, he has. Chris, what do you got? Nuggets, tidbits? Fill us up.
Yeah, Tremaine Edmonds picked off his old buddy, his old draft classmate, Josh Allen. So did Kevin Byard. They both picked off Tua Tagovailoa last week as well. So they got both of the visiting quarterbacks in there. Colston Loveland was asked about the penalties levied against Michigan today in their championship season. He said, quote, "Sounds like we still got the ring." So I don't think he's too concerned about that. Among visitors today was White Sox general manager Chris Getz. And looking ahead to Sunday night, it's still unclear clear how much the Bears will play their starters for that game. The Bills have not decided on their starters either. Both coaches want to see how their teams came out of practice today. So we will know closer to kickoff on Sunday night.
So Chris Getz was there. Did the Bills, were they trying to trade for Luis Robert? Like, what the hell is that about? What's going on there?
Why not?
The White Sox are also a team. I heard that once ago. They are also a team.
They're a
Emma,
key franchise in this city. Yeah.
great job. We appreciate you. Thanks for the insight from up there at Halas Hall.
Take care.
That's Chris Emma. He covers the Bears for us.